actually started college as a speech therapist, didn't really care for the oral MEC class I had to take, and so I switched to deaf education. So I've been a teacher for children who are deaf and hard of hearing for the last 20 years.
Wow, cool.
So my goal was always to go and get my audiology degree, and then they changed it to a doctoral program.
That's right, yeah. I know
so I was looking for, they have physical therapy assistants and OTAs, and so I thought, maybe there's an odd A type position, and so that led me to this program.
All right, okay, so you do have some background in it that way. Great.
Yes.
Great. And how about you, Lizzie? How did you ever hear about this program?
Well, I heard about this program through the OTC transportation little vehicle that came to my school
Okay.
like a few years ago. And I mean, I've grown up with him, so just in myself, just to help others with hearing difficulties.
All right, far out. Okay, great. And Kelly, up in the Idaho, how did you ever hear about this field?
My niece just went through the program and graduated last summer, and is in love with it. She just loves her job, and we had owned a business and sold it, and I took some time off and decided I can't stay home forever and take care of dogs. So and I wanted something to help people. I didn't want to go back into office work. I didn't want to sit at a desk doing office work all day. I wanted something that you could feel good about doing every day.
Yeah.
And she really feels it's very rewarding.
Okay, cool. That's Lynn, you've just joined us here now too. It's we were just chit-chatting about things and stuff, and about the anatomy course and this course are kind of twin foundational courses.
Yeah.
And then I thought I'd just shut up for a while and talk and just ask you how everybody came into this program and how we all got here. So
no, some great stories. And Lizzie, I thought you looked so familiar. I want to say that I met you a few years ago on the bus, but maybe not. Was it at Rogersville?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it was.
I know that I was there a few years ago on the bus, and we did like a career day, and we did an impression of someone's ear. Might have been your ear. I don't remember.
No, it wasn't, but I was sitting like in the front, like over onto the side.
Okay.
And somehow I had my hair down, but they still realized I had hearing aids.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
Marianne, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So I heard someone else talking too. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who it was. And I noticed up at the top, because we've not had this many participants at one time yet in Zoom, because Zoom is so new for all of us. So we're all kind of learning together. But I know there's a little blue arrow at the top. Dr. Venema, I don't know if you saw that or not, but you can actually scroll over and then see other participants. One who's chewing on a pen, Carly, and I think it's a ring pen she's chewing on. And then a few we have names: Victoria and Chelsea, Elizabeth, Atnip, and then Tracy. I was listening to you talk, as well as Kelly. And Kelly, I believe I know who your niece is. Your niece and I corresponded about you, so I'm glad you're here.
Okay, she did say, she mentioned you in one of our messages on Facebook.
Yeah. So she reached out and said my aunt is really interested, and so I had to reach back out to her and just get your name so that way I could connect face name to who she was talking about. So yeah, glad y'all joined.
Ow!
So I don't know who that was talking, but
I heard ow. Ooh.
Somebody must have their child crawling all over them or something. Who knows? All right. Good deal. Yeah, so it's good to get to know everybody. I don't know if the others have. Those of you that we can't see your faces, do you have at least, I know one of you at least has some voice ability because we're hearing a little bit, but I mean, do you have Did everyone introduce themselves? I just kind of cut in the middle.
Yeah, I see Victoria, Chelsea Fiedler, Lizzie, Tracy, Carly, you, Kelly, and Elizabeth. Elizabeth has her mic cut off, I see.
Okay.
Yes, I'm here, but at work and no camera. I see from Elizabeth Atnip. Okay, good.
Gotcha. Good. It's good to have that chat box available too, that way. Okay, great.
Yeah, I think what we're doing here for this first session, it's just a really kind of like an orientation session. It's just to kind of get our act together to figure out this Zoom stuff and to tell you a little bit about how the course is structured and what we'll do. And I'll talk a little bit, but I know Ms. Royer is much better than I am at getting through the Blackboard and all that. I'll let her explain, show you things like that. But just from my end, in your weekly sessions at 11:30, people don't always have to attend, but it's always better if you do, because then things are live and you can ask questions. And that's always, for me, way, as they would say, mo better. And but I'll always be, for each unit, there's always a set of notes, and there's a PowerPoint that goes along with it, and you'll find it in your lessons, and Lynn will show you exactly where, but there's a folder with all of my stuff in it. And for each week, there's like a set of notes, Microsoft Word notes, and those are always things you should print up ahead of time. They're usually about 3 or 4 pages of notes. Print those puppies up and have them stapled together by your computer, and then I'll be showing you the PowerPoint that goes along with those notes. And so that's what I'll be sharing my screen with. I'll show you the PowerPoints. You'll be able to see my face. Too bad for you. And I'll be talking to you from those notes so that you can follow right along with me and scratch whatever you want. Just write in those notes or whatever you feel like doing. But think of those notes as like your cheat sheets. Those are like the summary or the Cliff's Notes of the course, really. I mean, almost all the content of your course is in these weekly collaborative sessions. And I'll always hold them for about 1 hour, about 60 minutes. I encourage questions, I encourage interaction, but I'll always record it so that in case someone can't attend and it's at work, you can always listen to it later on to your heart's content. But I will say that—
Dr. Venema?
Yeah.
Will they always be at 11:30?
Yeah, usually it's 9:30 my time on the West Coast.
Okay.
And but that's just a time that works the best for me. But that's why we chose it. It's just
okay.
I teach another class tomorrow at 11:30 as well for OTC. So okay. I have 2 courses this semester. Yours, Acoustics 110, and then a second-year course called Real Ear Measurement, how we measure hearing aids on people. So that's what you will be taking next year. But so yeah, it's very important to print up the notes ahead of time, and you will have the PowerPoint to yourselves as well. But I'll be showing you that PowerPoint on my screen as we talk through notes like that. And each set of notes lasts about 2 weeks. So the first 2 weeks we'll use Unit 1, Frequency. It's called Frequency and Wavelength, and we'll be talking for 2 weeks on that. And then after that, there'll be Unit 2 called the Decibel. So we'll be talking for 2 weeks on the decibel and use those notes and that PowerPoint to go with those notes. Then 2 weeks later, you will be in Unit 3, and that'll be complex sounds, where we will really be talking about the sound of speech. What is it about speech? Because that's the most important sound that people with hearing aids want to hear. What is it about speech? And we'll talk about bass, mids, and treble frequencies of speech, the very nature of the sound of speech. Then will likely be your midterm. Your midterm exam is mostly true falses, multiple choices, blah, 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 blah. And you will also have 2 quizzes before your midterm. We'll always announce when they are. One might be on frequency, another one might be on the decibel, and the quizzes are like 10 to 20 questions, just blah, 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 you just fill them out. And, so that's the first half of the course. And then after the midterm, we get into more the perception of sound, psychoacoustics, psycho. And that's an interesting aspect as well. We'll be talking about your perception of sound. So the first half of the course is kind of like the physics of sound. The second half of the course is the perception of sound. But in each weekly session, about an hour in length, we'll be talking from notes that you will have printed up ahead of time and full on the PowerPoints, and I'll be describing. I like explaining. Don't freak out. It's not all math and it's not all scary like that. There's no trigonometry. There's no calculus. There's none of this. The biggest or most toughest part will be some fractions like 10 over 5 is equal to 2 over x, like that kind of stuff. It's not like complicated math at all, but you have to attend or listen to the recorded sessions. It's very important. I just really want to emphasize that this is really like the backbone of the course. And again, if you can't attend live, it's not the end of the world, but make it your business to listen to the recording and give the hour of time to follow the recording very carefully. Stop it in case you need to write down stuff. Get it going again. Very, very important that way. And the last thing I'm going to just say here is always watch the recording on a regular sized computer monitor. You can't watch it on a phone. The screen is too small. You gotta sit in front of a desktop or a laptop computer. It's just gonna be way easier to see the stuff on the PowerPoint slide that I'm pointing at. So just some introductory comments that way. This is just a housekeeping orientation type of session today. I'm not going to get into a talk on acoustics. We'll start that next week, but it's really, Lynn and I have learned that we want to really be tightly organized this way and in good contact with each of you if you have questions along the way. Lynn, am I missing anything? Is there anything you want to, that I've forgotten here?
No, not that I can think of. One thing, since we're kind of talking about the days and times for our Zoom sessions or collaborative sessions, is that one thing that we didn't do last semester, but we'll make sure that we do this semester, is I'll actually be holding an office hour as well. And it will be on Wednesdays from 8 to 9 p.m. Okay, so because some students work during the day, obviously, and we understand that, or you're in other classes. So that's just going to be another opportunity for you to dial in to the Zoom session, and we'll be using this same session each and every time we gather. So the meeting ID will be the same. It'll happen every week. But then we'll have evening times available as well. So from 8 to 9 p.m. every Wednesday, then I'll do my level best to make myself available and dial in and just hang out, so that if anybody wants to pop in, ask questions, and I can assure you I'm not going to know the answer to everything, but I'll at least be able to help you as far as where we can go to get that answer. Mm-hmm. Or we'll be shooting Dr. Venema an email and we'll be asking him that question.
Yeah. Don't ever hesitate to write me an email, or I can also be reached by phone. Excuse me. My landline phone. My cell phone, my wife takes the cell phone with her to work. But the landline phone you will have. I can just give it to you right now if you want. I'll just give it to you for the sake of communication, okay? 433 9707. 778-433-9707. I can be reached almost any day except Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But Monday through Thursday is good for me, okay? I'm 2 hours behind you. So right now it's just past 9:30 a.m. here. You're on Central Time, I'm on Pacific Time. Or as we would call it, I'm on the wet coast, where we get a lot of rain. Rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain. Okay?
She thought that was funny. Oh,
I think we're off to a better start anyhow. This is good. Yeah, I have to start on this new Zoom thing, this format. We used to do something else in Blackboard. It was called Collaborate Session. And looked a little bit different, but I never had everybody attending like this, which is great. It's way better, but I'll always be recording the sessions. I'm a little bit nervous about it because I'm not always the best at getting this stuff started and going, but you'll find the program at OTC unique in that as an online program, you're not just doing assignments and sending them in and then someone later on grades it and sends it back to you. It's more like an active online program where even if you're not attending the live sessions, you always are encouraged to listen to the recorded sessions. Then you actually hear a voice and you see a person and there's some interaction that way. So it's not a seated program, it's like a hybrid program.
So when you record this, where will it be located under the course? Will it be under resources once it's recorded, or will it be under the Zoom?
I believe it'll be under something called your weekly lecture series.
Oh, okay, okay.
When you look on the left-hand side and you see those buttons where you saw resources and lessons
right.
and all that. And I believe it'll be under the weekly lecture series, right, Lynn?
Okay.
yeah. I'll show you too whenever we do a tour of the course here
She's
shortly.
going to give you a bit of a virtual tour after I shut my face, and we'll see how it actually goes so that we all are familiar with that. And I am learning it too. I had to ask her just yesterday, oh yeah, where do you put that? Where is this going to go? And so we're all just, we're ironing out the kinks here, but I think it's going to be a really good, successful semester. I really do. I don't know why. This is off to a better start, I can tell already.
Right.
I have a question. I don't know if I am seeing exactly what everybody else is seeing on their screen. Am I supposed to be seeing like a whole video?
Well, what I see is 9 boxes. I've got 3 boxes across the top, 3 in the middle, 3 on the bottom. I can't see all the boxes lit. 3 of them are dark, and but that's what I see.
Because I just see kind of like everybody's name and everything in front of me, but that's all I see. So I was making sure like everybody's box lights up whenever they talk, but that's all that I see.
Oh, maybe you don't have your video on or something, because you should see some of our faces. Yeah,
you should see
we don't see your face either. Yeah.
Maybe if you move your cursor, you'll see a bar pop on the bottom of the screen. And then you'll see on the left, you can see video, you'll see a camera or whatever. And maybe if you play around with the arrow beside that camera, I'm just guessing. Lynn, correct me if I'm wrong. She's the guru here.
I don't think my computer downloaded the right part of it, is what I'm thinking, because I don't have anything that says video anywhere on it. I just have the option to leave the meeting, participants, invite, and mute my mic.
Oh, okay. So if you go down to the very bottom bar on your laptop or your computer, you have Chrome, you have Internet Explorer, you have all of your icons. And for Zoom, I have 3 different icons that will open up, and one of them is my account where I can join meeting, schedule a meeting, leave the meeting. So that is one, and then there is a Zoom update available already that we can update to a newer version. And then the next one that I have is Zoom meeting, and then the ID number, which starts out 821. So that's the one that we're actually in, and hopefully you are as well.
I'm gonna have to probably fiddle around with it a little bit.
Yeah, and it takes a few times just to get comfortable with what you're looking at, but because you're primarily speaking in my screen, which I never go full screen. I keep my screen smaller so I can see what's behind it. But I see myself, Kelly, Dr. Venema, and Tracy are at the top, and then there's a blue slider bar so you can slide over and see the rest of the participants.
That's what I don't see that, Lynn, on mine. And you mentioned that earlier about that arrow or something.
Yeah.
I haven't got that either.
I think if you go to a smaller screen, if you exit that full screen, then you'll see that.
Mm-hmm.
And then across the bottom, then you have a menu with more options like manage participants. There are currently 9 on the session. Share your screen, the chat box, pause or stop recording, close caption. So, it's just a matter of making it larger, making it smaller, playing around with it. And then hopefully you can get comfortable with everything's at. And as you can see, we're still learning as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we had an over an hour practice session the other evening, just getting on and figuring out how everything works to make sure that we're somewhat comfortable with what we're doing. And we had a lot of this, okay, I'm going to push this button. Now what do you guys see? What do we see? And so you're sharing your screen now, and we see someone's
wait a minute.
Wow, now I got this giant zoom on my screen.
So just minimize it. Don't X out. It may kick you totally out. So go up to your little minimize, the little slash bar, and just...
No, don't hit that one.
It might kick you out if you X out. Just you have your X, and then you have the square box, and then you have the line. Hit that line and minimize that, and that'll take it back down for you. I think she's out, though, maybe. I'm not sure.
I think I saw her click the X.
You are viewing Elizabeth's screen. And it says it's recording it. It's got a little red light flashing.
Well, hopefully she unshares her screen so we can continue.
Was that Lizzie?
How do I get out of her screen that's on my screen?
Well, you can't. That's, we've allowed everyone permissions. So what we may have to do is we may have to
Yeah, I think so.
change some of our permissions going forward. Oh my gosh. In Collaborate, I used to allow permissions, and while I'd be lecturing, some of the students would hop in and they were drawing pictures on the whiteboard. So I had to lock them down so they couldn't do that because it was distracting the entire class. So up at the very top, there should be a button that says unshare your desktop. The very top. You should have a button at the very top of your screen that says unshare desktop, and that's what you need to select.
I don't have that because all I have is her screen right now.
Yeah, Kelly, you won't have it, Kelly, because you didn't share your desktop. It's the person that shares their desktop has to unshare it.
That was Lizzie, I think.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
that was me, and I don't see minimize or unshare desktop.
You just
So I might have to
take your
exit out.
mouse and just kind of scan it across the top, the very top of your screen and the button hopefully will come up.
Okay,
Oh, I think it's
because
the thing that says
I'm
exit
just
full
seeing
screen.
like a mute, stop video, participants, new share, pause share.
Pause share. Pause share.
Pause share,
That's what you want.
Okay, I did that, but now it just has like a resume share. Okay.
What about there's a exit full screen up there I'm getting when I click on the view options next to Lizzie's name? If she hit exit full screen, would that work?
Yeah, it should minimize. There we go. Okay, now you see at the very top, you have options next to you are viewing Lizzie Roberts' screen.
Mhm.
So click on that down arrow for options.
You'll get, I get original size and request remote control.
I'm going to go exit full screen.
That's what I
Okay.
thought too. Okay, yeah. Well, at
And
least it's not
then-
small.
And then, Lizzie, you should have up there where it says you're viewing Lizzie Roberts' screen. You should have an option up there somewhere. Here, I'm going to request the remote control and let's see what happens.
Because I see the remote control thing.
Okay, but you don't have an unshared desktop?
No, I do not.
You have a taskbar at the bottom that has invite participants, share screen, chat, record.
Maybe
Yeah.
click there.
I am completely like, I can only see you guys. You're on the right side of my screen in like the little boxes.
Yeah,
And I can see 4 of you.
yeah.
But then I have it, I can try again.
Move your mouse down to the bottom of the
Yeah.
screen and see if your
Yeah, and
taskbar
just-
shows up.
Yeah, there's a green box at the bottom of your screen, Lizzie. If you move your cursor down to the bottom, you might see a green box saying share screen. Maybe if you click on that.
Yeah, maybe
It'll
it'll
unshare.
unshare it.
Yeah.
Because I only have a thing at the top of my screen. It's on my desktop, so I have like the Internet Explorer and then my Documents tab, and that's all I have. Let's see.
Lynn has started sharing.
Okay.
All right.
Now it
so-
says
okay.
that. Okay.
Okay, so I kicked you out.
Okay.
Sorry.
That worked.
Nothing personal. All right. So
How'd you do that?
I just shared my screen and it said, are you sure you want to take over
Got it.
sharing screen and discontinue their screen? So that'll be our exit button whenever that happens. Okay.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
I can tell you whenever I did that, of course, it pulled my desktop up, and then up at the very, very top, I have the meeting ID and it's in green, and then right next to it, it says stop share at the very top of my screen.
Mm.
So that's just something that Lizzie will get some more practice with it, and hopefully you'll be able to see that next time that happens. But we can always, one of us others can always, either Dr. Venemer or myself can hop in and take over, okay, sharing the screen. And now I'm going to stop share and let's see what happens. Let's see if
There it goes.
now we're back to normal, okay?
Mhm.
So that's good. That was a good learning experience for all of us, wasn't it?
Lynn, let me just ask you, can all of us just kick the other person out, or does everyone have equal power there, or what?
I believe we all have equal power because I set every participant of the meetings up as a moderator also.
Mhm. Okay.
And kind of my thought process when I did that, when I set it up, is that if a student's in Blackboard, or say they're working on their quiz and they need to know how to save it and upload it to Blackboard, it allows them to share their screen so we can see what they're talking about.
Mhm.
We can give them additional instructions, and then we can share our screen.
Sounds
So
good.
it was kind of as we're mentoring them through, especially these first few quizzes that they're going to be uploading, it'll be good for us to be able to see their screen as well, so that we can show them how to save the file and what format to save it, and then where to go in Blackboard to upload it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. But, if you guys all go finger happy crazy and keep stealing the screen away from us, we may have to change the setting. Otherwise all of our sessions are going to take about an hour and a half instead of an hour. And I think we're limited to an hour on our recording from what I understand. So, But just let me know, Dr. Venema, whenever you're ready for me to hop into Blackboard and actually give them a tour of the course. And
okay.
you know, add in whenever you're ready, and then, you know, we can both talk to them about what they're looking at.
Let me just, I will finish my little thing about the notes and the PowerPoints by, look at this, I'm going to share my screen now. Let's see what happens here. It says select a window or application that you want to share. Good grief. Oh, I think it's this one here. You're going to see a set of notes like this. Can you see that? Does everybody see this?
Yes.
Okay. You're going to see a set of notes like this that you can, that one can scroll down and follow the notes like what have you. It'll be I have to get used to this here. Look at like this and blah blah blah. We will cover this and sound waves and sine waves. You can see this, and it's going to be about. We'll take about 2 weeks to go over this. Oh, here's the fractions. Look at this. Wavelength over 1 is equal to 340 over 100. Big deal, okay? Not too bad at all. Now, if I want to find a different file to, Zoom has stopped sharing as the shared window is now closed. Okay, good. Now let me show you, I'll show you the PowerPoint slides. Can you see these PowerPoint slides?
I think so.
See that?
Yes.
That's the kind of PowerPoint that we'll be going over. And we'll talk about sound waves and I'll talk about, you know, long sound waves and short sound waves, and I'll just be describing stuff. So basically, that's the long and short of it. Always print up your notes ahead of time, and then these are PowerPoint slides that I'll be showing you, like one at a time. You know, I'll just be showing you this slide, and we'll go then, you know, to the next slide, and we'll go to the next slide, and blah blah blah. So that's essentially what you're going to see as we talk next week. We'll start out with the notes, and it'll always be corresponding or referring to the PowerPoint that goes along with it. And you'll find those in your lessons, in the lessons folder or the lessons box at the left side of your screen in Blackboard. So I'll exit this out. Share, it stopped as the shared window is now closed. Okay, that's my spiel. Okay.
Kelly, since you're unfamiliar with this, for PowerPoint, you can print out the slides with lines underneath them so that you can take notes. It's yeah, so you can pull up print for the slides. It'll ask you the whole slide, or if you want to just print up a notes page.
Yep.
So you can print out the entire PowerPoint presentation with the little slides and then lines underneath each one for notes.
Yeah, you'll get about 3 to a page then, and you save trees. But as Tracy says, thanks Tracy for telling that, because yes, the notes are not only print upable, so is the PowerPoint slides, obviously. I didn't say that, but I should have. Thank you.
Yeah, and then you can also do in grayscale if you don't want to print everything in color to save money. You know, print it in grayscale, and then even if your printer has the ability to do front and back, you can do that, but at least printing 3 to a page with the little note lines next to it is very helpful, and it'll save you money when you go to printing.
And let me just go and get a pants and shirt out of the dryer if I don't be drawn to about this big. So I'll be right back.
My internet connections was cutting in and out, so I didn't hear what he said.
Yeah, just to go get pants and shirt out of the dryer.
Well,
Yeah, if nothing else, you'll be incredibly entertained. You know,
well, it's definitely a more informal kind of arena than sitting in a classroom.
Absolutely. Of course, I'm, you know, in his classrooms, it might have been pretty exciting. Who knows? Oh, too funny.
I'm going to get a drink real fast while he's doing that. So
You bet. You bet.
All right. Well, success. The shirt didn't shrink, so good.
That's a good thing,
Deliver on time.
especially if it was Kim's and not yours. it's
Oh yeah, well I'd be in deep doo-doo then, that's for sure. Yeah, that'd be
right,
worse.
right.
I have to go and do a talk at a Rotary Center after this, so
Oh, cool.
I thought I better get my act together. I got to get my act together for tomorrow's class as well. I guess I'll be
Right.
doing a similar thing. And
Right.
Lynn will be there to help.
No, I won't. I'll be in the airport.
Mm-hmm. But you've already loaded up this. You've already done the work of announcing it and the.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think they'll be good. Hopefully you'll have good attendance. Hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right.
All right.
So are you ready for a tour?
Yes, we're ready for a tour.
Okay, and this is it's kind of particular, so you'll have to let me know what you see on your end so that I can make sure you're seeing what I want you to see, okay? Because sometimes boxes will pop up and it blocks your view like it did the other night. I'm not sure why. All right, so I'm going to share screen and desktop. All right. So are you able to see my Blackboard screen? Is that what you're seeing? So you see, okay, great.
Yep.
All right, just want to make sure. So we're going to hop into 17 Spring 110. And then the first thing I'm going to do, if I can figure out how to move you guys a little bit, there we go. I'm going to turn it to student view so that you're not seeing instructor view, because I want you to see it how you will be seeing it as a student. All right, so whenever you hop into your course, the first page that you're always going to see is your announcements page. And I highly recommend that you always scroll down and just double check announcements, because sometimes if I type an announcement really late at night, I don't always send it. I schedule it to send at a later date and time because I don't want your computer or your phone dinging at you at 1 or 2 in the morning. It's not very polite. Sometimes I'll forget, I may do it, but know that I don't mean to. So a lot of times I'll prepare announcements ahead of time and they'll go out later. If I do that, they do not email you as well. Okay, so just always check your announcements page just to make sure that there are no announcements out there that maybe did not get emailed to you and you didn't receive any notification that it went out. I try not to do that, but sometimes I just have to because of time constraints. In the left-hand menu, what you're going to see, you'll see announcements, and then you'll see faculty. And I'm just going to kind of go down the page. So you can see a little bit more information about myself as well as Dr. Venema. Next one down is your syllabus. So your course syllabus, if you see the yellow folder, that means that that's a clickable folder that you need to open up because there are more than one item in there possibly. So your syllabus should be there and ready to go, we hope. And then you also have a PDF of your syllabus that you're able to print out. So as you're printing your notes and you're printing your PowerPoints, it's a great idea just to get a big fat binder and just keep it all in the binder, so then it's easy to pull that binder out. You have all your notes together whenever you sit down to review for your quizzes, your midterm, and your final exam. So it's a good idea. Just print the syllabus, put it in the front, because you'll find yourself often referring back to that syllabus for important course information. Then you can always use your back arrow at the top if you need to take you back just one step, as opposed to going to that left-hand menu, and then you have to start all over. We do have some discussion board guidelines. So from time to time, you'll have a discussion board assignment like you do for this 2-week period where you need to submit a post, but then you also need to respond to 2 more students' posts as well. And this encourages classroom discussion. So we hope to accomplish most of that in these weekly Zoom sessions, but from time to time you'll have a discussion board assignment as well. And sometimes it might be an assignment just because we're strictly looking for your input as a student on what you like or don't like about Zoom. You know, you may see an assignment for that. I do have a discussion board that I'm probably going to put in here halfway through the course, and it's about time management. Because I think it's important that we all just kind of step back, look at how we manage our time. This first semester is going to be really tough. I mean, it just is, because you're getting acclimated to Blackboard, acclimated to your courses, to your instructors. So I think I read an email right before I hopped into Zoom this morning that said, I think it might have been amongst the thousands of announcements that I received all in one day, you know, and we apologize for that. It is information overload at first. So, you know, I think it'll be important that we just do some of those fun little exercises too, just to kind of help us and give us tips for better time management, because you're going to have to be very good at managing your time in online courses. Even though you're not physically coming to class, you physically have to go to class. So it works out best for some students just to pick a couple days and times and, okay, for 3 hours on this day, I'm going to class. And then you just try to shut everything out, hop into your courses. But if you're on a schedule, you'll make life much easier on yourself if you do that. Also, you'll always see the academic calendar posted as well, and I'll be updating it soon and then adding in, obviously, 2017 academic calendar, because 2016 isn't very beneficial for you at this time. So I'll update that and put 2017 out there. That'll be helpful. See, it's good we're going through this. All right. So next in the left-hand menu, you have your lessons. And of course, you're seeing lesson 1. There's also a note about your final exam. I'm not sure why it's located under lessons, so we'll make sure and move that over to Dropbox, but you don't really have to worry about the final exam at this point. So we're going to go into Unit 1. Lovely. And there's some helpful information about getting started. Your reading assignment, you will always see a summary of what this unit is about. You will see any content for the course. So as we scroll down, every lesson or unit, you'll see your invitation to your Zoom meeting, your reading assignment, your lecture materials. We're actually going to hop in there because that's where your notes and your PowerPoints are located.
Yep.
I have them we have them in PowerPoint version. Your notes are in Word version. And then down below, we have a PDF of each. So if it's easier for you based on what software you have loaded on your computer, it may be easier just to open the PDF and print that. Okay, so I always like to provide that in a PDF format as well.
So it just gives you an option. There's 4 things there, but really there's 2. One's the notes, one's the PowerPoint.
Right, right. Okay. And then what you'll always see too is you'll always see at the bottom if there's a quiz, and you will have a quiz that's going to be due on February the 12th. So you've got time in order to complete your quiz. And then you will always see at the bottom, you'll always see a review of what's due and when, and important dates.
Lynn, what happens when you click on Zoom meetings there, your invitation to the weekly lectures? Click on that once, just to.
You bet. So when we open up Zoom meetings, you're actually going to see our schedule, which is each of our meeting dates and times. So you have a schedule for the entire semester. The week of March 14th, you'll see we're off for spring break, so we won't have a meeting that week. And then down below, you'll have the weekly Zoom link. So if you click into the link, and I don't know if you can see that it's launching the meeting. Do you see all that? You see everything happening on my desktop? Okay. So we're going to close that out because we don't want to hop in there right now. We're already there. So your link is there as well. So if you can't track down your email or your calendar reminder, know that you can just hop directly into the course, go to the lesson. The link will always be there.
And the link, Lynn, is that the same for each week?
It's the same for each week. Yeah.
And let me just ask you this too, because I'm learning too. Is that the same for 250 Real Ear?
For 250 Real Ear, yes, it's the same. Because,
each week.
Correct. Because we'll have a recurring meeting each week. It's just so much easier to set it up that way.
You bet. Okay.
Yeah. Now, it will be important for you to watch your announcements in the course. And it will also be important if you haven't already signed up for Remind, which is the service that I'll be using if I ever need to text message you a quick announcement. That's a great service for us to take advantage of because I can get information to you quickly. From time to time, Dr. Venema does travel. From time to time, well, every week I travel. So it'll be important for you to watch that because from time to time, Dr. Venema won't be live on the session. He'll actually be recording a session for you to watch. So for the most part, the schedule stays on track, but it's important because from time to time, we're going to have to make a change. Not very often, but it has happened in the past due to conferences and just travel where we're stuck in the airport and we're not able to log in because we're loading on a plane. So it'll be important that you just kind of watch the announcements for any changes that might occur in the meetings. So even though you have your schedule, this is the plan, but know that the plan can change, okay? All right, so we're gonna go ahead and hop into, in the left-hand menu, into discussions. And then what you're going to see is the very top discussion is questions for the instructor. So anytime you have just general questions regarding the course, you can hop into the forum and ask your question. We try to check this forum a couple times a week so that we can respond and give you an answer back. And then that way the entire class sees the question and they see the answer. So what that does is it avoids us having to answer the same question 10 different times in 10 different emails, okay? Because more than likely, Lizzie is going to have the same question as Tracy, and she might find it beneficial for everyone if she asks the question in the forum. Then we can answer it there. Everybody gets the answer to the same question that they want to ask. There's also an open forum called Rope Up, and Rope Up is a concept that you'll hear me talk about quite often because I drank the Kool-Aid and I'm a firm believer of it. We'll put it that way. So yes, so Dr. Venema just showed you his bracelet. And so our rope up concept is something that I'll share with you about how it's very important to rope up with colleagues, family members, friends, other students in the course primarily. And all that means is that you partner up and be partners in crime and lean on each other when you have questions or you need help. Because one of the things that we all find very early on is that our students really do form relationships very quickly. So there's going to be someone that you're going to connect with, or more than one student that you're going to connect with, that you all will rely on each other. If you have a question, or if you're just having a bad day or what have you, you're going to reach out to each other just as much as you're going to reach out to your instructors, if not more. So it's really important that you form study groups, post photos to each other, general comments to each other. Had a great day, this is what happened. And I highly encourage you to take advantage of using the forum. Just make sure that everything you post is professional, tactful, is not hurtful to anyone, because we love to use the delete button when that happens. So we will delete unacceptable posts very quickly. But it's really important just that you start forging and making those relationships, because you'll find that they last a lifetime. Even though in the profession of hearing science and audiology, it's very large, but it's very small. So as you make your way through the program and you go out into the profession, we know what you all are up to still. We know where you are. Many times we know where you're working. We know a lot about you. And we all stay in contact after you graduate. I mean, we make it a point to stay in contact with our graduates in the program because it's important. And then we share our successes, our stories, our shortfalls. Mm-hmm. And I love hearing the stories about, oh my goodness, I helped a patient today and I changed his life and he changed mine. So it's just really important that you form those relationships. And I'll share more with you about the rope up concept as we go on.
It's an interesting profession you're considering that you're taking, as Lynn says, because if you're outside of it, you've never heard of it. But when you're inside of it, it's like there's no more than 2 degrees of freedom of separation. You'll always be able to know somebody who knows somebody else. It's an interesting field that way. And another thing that Lynn mentioned is the importance of keeping in contact with each other. The danger of an online program is that people become silos and they exist by themselves. And we've learned, sometimes the hard way, but we've learned through experience that it's much better to have a cohesive connection and to make this an active online program as opposed to a passive online program. It's what we make of it, and I can already tell that this is a better collusion and a better cohesion than we've had in other semesters. This is good. I'm really glad that we haven't usually spent this much time in orientation, and I think it's really important that we do. It's something that we've learned along the way. I don't think a lot of online programs do this, so I should let Lynn keep carrying on. She's got a lot.
No, you're fine, because it's incredibly important that we keep that top of mind. And then, you see another discussion board that is not available. Let me see. It'll be available after March 12th. You may not even be able to see it, but I can see it. So those are your discussion boards. So you're probably currently working on the getting to know you discussion. And we'll try to hop in there a few times over the course of the next week just to read some of your posts, make some comments, and it helps us get to know everyone a little bit better. Understand where you're coming from and what your goals are. All right, left-hand menu Dropbox is the next one. And you can see that your Unit 1 quiz is open. It's available for you to begin working on. Now, in most of your online courses, and I don't know how many online courses you all have had thus far, and I know some of you have been in school before just from hearing you introduce yourselves earlier. But our quizzes are set up just a little bit differently than what you may see in a lot of the other courses. A lot of the other courses, the quiz is actually embedded within the course and you answer true, false, multiple choice. Well, our quizzes are set up a little bit differently because there's more information that Dr. Venema is actually looking for. He's looking for some critical thinking and he just wants to make sure that you have a good understanding of the material. So I'm going to go ahead and click into the quiz because our quizzes are actually set up as assignments. So what you're going to see, you'll see number 1, assignment information, how many points are possible, your due date, and then you see a .doc file, okay? So that .doc file is the file that you're going to open up. And then you can either print it and handwrite your answers, or you can actually type into the document, but you'll want to save it as your own file. So you can open it up, and of course it opens it up down in the bottom. Just let me know when it pops open if you all see it, okay?
There it is. Yeah.
See the file? All right. And at the very top, you're going to see enable editing. So what you can do is you can answer it within the document, or you can print it and you can handwrite it. But if you do, that means you're going to have to scan it back in. If you have a scanner at your disposal to be able to do that, and a lot of the printers anymore are a printer, scanner, copier. If you do not have a scanner, then I would recommend that you try to complete it as best you can. You might print off your copy, handwrite your answers, and then type them in. But it's going to be really important for you to file, save as, and you want to make sure it's really best to save it as a PDF file. Okay, so you can keep it, leave it the same name, add your name in there somewhere if you choose to. Save it in your documents, 110, and save it as a PDF, okay? And then your screen will actually pop open so you can see how it looks before you attach it. So now what we're gonna do, so we're gonna figure out how to close this. And don't save. All right. So then what you're going to do is you're going to see down in section 2, and where I took you back to is I took you back to the course, back to Dropbox, right where you opened up the file. In section 2, you will have write submission. So if you just want to handwrite all of it, you can, but that's really not what we want. Or you can attach a file. So then that's when you're going to browse your computer. You're going to go where you save the file, and you have to remember where you save the file to. So if it's easiest for you to initially save it to your desktop so it's easy to find, then do that. I would recommend that you create a folder just like I did, HIS 110, and then you just drop all of your 110 stuff into that file folder. Then it's easy for you to find it at a later point in time. So then I'll open that up, and then wherever that quiz is, you'll then open up the file, and we'll just do this just for practice. So now you can see attached file, and you see my file there as a PDF. And then you'll scroll down. Any comments that you want to give to Dr. Venema, you can say, Dr. Venema, this was
a bear.
And then you'll submit. Okay? So then whenever he goes into the grade center, he will actually be able to see my submission. Okay. And then it gave me an error message. Submission from previewed assignment is not saved. And that's because my Blackboard has kind of logged me out, because I've been in it so long. Every now and then it will log you out. So not a big deal. Now he won't see what I submitted and it won't be all cluttered up. Okay. So I think it would probably be good, and I'm gonna just say that next week, same time, same bat channel. So whenever we meet next week at 11:30, we're going to go through this process again, just to make sure that everybody's got it. And know that the session is being recorded as well, so that you'll be able to go back and watch the recording and understand how to upload your quizzes, because this has been the biggest challenge each and every semester, is getting everyone acclimated to how to submit their quizzes.
Yeah, it's really important that I want to just underline that. We have found that it was a lot of students were uploading things, and I couldn't read them to grade them. I would have to email the student, and I'd have to delete your submission, and then you'd have to resubmit it again. And so if we learn it right from the beginning, like Lynn says, save it as a PDF file, put it in a file folder called 110, and then you can upload it and submit it to me this way, and it works. What I can do then is I'll see your quiz, and not only can I then grade it, but I can make comments. I can talk to you about your answer, right, wrong, or indifferent. I can make an explanation, and that's way better than just right or wrong. You know, then you get why, the reasons why. That's so if it's uploaded properly, I can provide decent comments, and that's helpful in studying.
Right. And what we might do, Dr. Venom, in between now and next week, is maybe I'll take the quiz, upload it to you, you grade it, and then we can show them what it looks like after you've graded it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So they can actually see that. Okay, so the next section that you see on the left-hand side menu under Dropbox is grades. Now, when I click into grades, it's going to tell me that my grades, I don't have any available, okay? But once you start submitting assignments and they're graded and returned back to you, you're going to be able to actually see all of your grades whenever you click into grades, okay? So that way you can keep track of your assignments, make sure that you're completing everything, make sure that everything's getting graded. And then if you have questions, obviously if you got a 50%, you're going to freak and you're going to want to know why. And so just keep an eye on your grades and make sure everything looks accurate, because we don't always catch it. So it's going to be important for you to watch it as well. Then next, we have resources. So there are just a lot of resources out here that we've kind of gathered over time that will be very helpful for you to refer to. You'll see at the top kind of your required textbooks. And that's where I want to bring up, and we talked to Lizzie about this yesterday. There's another textbook that's recommended, and I would just recommend that you add it to your list and you get it just as soon as you can. Go to Amazon, just whenever you have a few extra dollars and you can add it, because it's a book that you will continue to use throughout the entire program and then in your profession after you graduate. And that's the Bradley Stack, the Dictionary of Audiology. And then if you have your pens handy, or you can write it down later when you listen to the recording, I'll find the ISBN for you. ISBN is 978-1-4018-4 4826-2. If you didn't get all that, I'll send it out in an announcement as well, okay? But it's just the dictionary of audiology, because you're running across a lot of new terms. Right now, it's kind of like a foreign language to many of us. So when you're reading, you run across a lot of new vocabulary. So it's important, I think, for you to have the dictionary. All right. So if you scroll down under resources, you'll find academic advising, Blackboard support, the bookstore. So a lot of links to important information. Toward the bottom, the laboratory is a great one to visit, and it's actually for 9th grade through 12th grade high school, but the physics of sound. So it's just a great website with some additional information in it in very layman's terms, short little video clips to help explain information to you about what you're learning. It's just supplemental material for you to review that will help you. Hawk Library is a great resource as well because it gives you tons and tons of photos and explanations of your pathologies. So you may, in some of your reading, you may read about a certain condition of the ear. You can hop into Hawk Library to actually see photos of what they're talking about. It's very helpful.
Always remember that these things are added or supplemental resources. These you're not going to be graded or tested on this kind of material. It's just meant for your own interest to help you digest certain things. But it's the testable and gradable material, I can just tell you, will come directly from the weekly sessions, from those notes and those PowerPoints contain 100% of your testable material. It's all about those sessions. The stuff, as Lynn says, is meant to be supplemental and of interest to you, just to check it out.
Absolutely. I mean, the more that you can read from different points of view and different resources, it will just overall just help you understand the material a little bit better. And then Sound Science, it's just a great little video to watch about sound. And I think it's a tad dated. I think it's in the 70s or early 80s, but the guys are quite nerdy, and it's just some great information to watch more about sound and sound waves and the effects. All right, but I won't scroll down anymore. I mean, I think everyone kind of gets the picture. All right, and then Zoom Lectures is your next folder. So this is where someone had a question earlier about where will the recorded sessions be. So you have your Zoom meetings, and then so you can see that same information that we had in the lessons folder is here as well. But then you're going to have a second folder down below that is for recorded sessions. So after today's session, you have to give us a little bit of time, but whenever the recording is generated, we'll actually be putting it in here. So under Zoom Lectures, you're going to find your meetings invitation, and then there will be a second folder for your recorded sessions. And I think in the 250 course, we already have those set up because we had a session. Our practice session, I think we played with and put in there, and we'll be doing the same here. We'll actually be putting the session here. Okay? All right, and then of course you have next below, you have tools available. So those are just additional tools for the course. Rarely will you hop in here. Rarely will you have a need to hop in here. But just know that there's some additional things that you can do, additional calendars you can utilize, or sending an email, things like that. All right?
Lynn, right at this juncture, can I ask you, and I'm just because I'm learning here as we go as well. You've held this orientation session already for 250.
Not for HIS 250. I haven't.
I didn't think so.
Yeah, but the session that we did the other night as a practice session,
Yes.
we actually put it into the 250 folder.
Got it. Okay.
As a practice.
Got it.
I think I closed it down so that the students aren't able to watch it because they would be quite entertained. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'd say. Gabbing away about everything under the sun. Okay, sounds good. All right.
So, yeah, so that's basically a tour of the course and what you're looking at. Now, hopefully, you understand kind of how the course is going to flow throughout the semester. We did have one student that also emailed a question about whether, because we have to have one proctored event, which means that one of our tests has to be proctored in order to meet OTC online requirements. So that's one of the things that we'll be making a decision on here within the next week about whether we want our final exam to be proctored or if we want to back it up and have our midterm exam proctored. Mm-hmm. So, Dr. Venema, you think about that? You think about what you might think would work out better for the students?
I think it's usually the final should be proctored.
Right. So yeah, so that's one of the things that, and I'll be posting that in an announcement out to everyone so that we can get that question answered. And I believe it was Victoria maybe that emailed me and asked that question.
I asked it because...
Oh, okay. Kelly asked it.
What happened was, for some reason on my Blackboard, I had this growing number in the red, like 38, 40, 44, and I would click on that little clock, or whatever you want to call it, which was announcements, and all I would get is one announcement about OTC. I didn't get any of those 44. And then I called OTC about the proctor forms, and then later that day, all of a sudden, all those came in.
Oh.
I had like 40 or 50 of announcements that had been for a week or two that I had to go through and figure out.
Oh, okay.
For all 4 courses that I'm doing, so it was kind of overwhelming.
Oh, that's big time. Well, taking all 4 courses at one time is overwhelming in itself.
Yeah, and I haven't been in school in 40 years, so it's...
To have 130 and 140 in conjunction with 110 and 120. So we recognize that. We always recommend for students to do early start if they can, so that they can break that out and do 110, 120 first, then do 130, 140 in the spring. Not that it can't be done. Almost every group of students that's graduated has done it the way you're doing it, Kelly, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine. You're going to have to be incredibly organized. I would have a big fat binder for each one of the courses so that you can keep all your materials straight. And
like
you've
Lynn
got to have
says,
a really good calendar.
Yeah, because 110 and acoustics and anatomy, 120 are the ground foundational courses.
Yeah.
And 130 and 140, you're looking at audiometry and hearing aid components. And so you're going to be talking in the lingo and language that you had to have had 110 and 120 to understand. So in an ideal world, as Lynn said, 120 and 110 should be taken first.
Yeah, that would have been my goal, but unfortunately, if I didn't take 140 this semester, I wouldn't be able to take it till next spring. And I wouldn't be able to take any courses next fall or this summer. I want to take summer ones. And
Sure,
so,
I get it.
Yeah, so I was kind of.
I can see your logic. I can see why.
Yeah.
It was more than I wanted. I guarantee you that. I did not want 4 classes.
Yeah.
Now, Kelly, do you work full time or part time?
There's no way I could work full time and do because I'm just,
Right. It would be really hard, and don't. It is incredibly overwhelming, but just, just do your best to get as organized as you can, and use a really good calendar system, and set your time aside each day where you go to class, and that will help you tremendously. And we're here to help you as well. And I mean, we're familiar with all of the courses.
Yeah.
We're familiar with how they run. But I do believe the one course where your proctored event is your midterm is your HIS 130 course. And that is with Dr. Cluck. And I believe she does her midterm proctored to lighten the load on all of the students at finals time. Okay? Because that proctored event, it requires you to actually go to a testing center for testing, and it just adds a little bit more pressure, unfortunately. But, it's also a great gauge to kind of see where you are as far as the course of your learning. So
we can also come down to OTC instead of having it proctored, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can go to a testing center, and they're ultimately doing the same thing. They're proctoring your event if you go into a testing center for testing.
At OTC, okay.
Mm-hmm. Correct. Yeah. So we try to be very mindful of your schedules and what you have going on. We have incredibly difficult schedules to keep up with as well. So we try to be very understanding. That one of the main recommendations that I always give is if you have something going on, and typically it's a life event because life is going to happen whenever you're taking these courses. I mean, it just does. But know that we're very understanding of that. We all, work other jobs, do other things. We have families. We have fur babies. We have all of the things going on that you all do. So know that we'll be very understanding, but it's critical that you communicate. So if you have something going on, hey, my dad's sick, I'm not going to be able to make it to the session, I might need extra time on my quiz, we're going to be very understanding with you, very forgiving, because we get it. But you have to communicate to us and let us know that. If we don't know that you have a life event going on, we may not know that we need to be considerate of the late assignment or the late quiz. If we don't know, we can't help you. So it's important that you communicate out to us, okay?
I was amazed Jessica made it through the last semester last year with her tragedy with the house last year.
You and I both.
But then I was really impressed at how you guys handled it for giving her all of her books that she lost in the fire. So
yeah,
kudos to you guys for that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and we even had different students that stepped up to the plate. And I mean, we had one student come in, and he had for the class that he was in with Jessica, he had books and a brand new otoscope for her, and that was a student that did that. So everybody was super, and that was just horrible what she went through.
Oh
But and OTC has a foundation, so OTC Foundation will always they will always pick up and provide a student extra help as well. And they were great to step up to the plate too. So, yeah. And she's doing awesome now. So
she loves her job. Oh, she loves it. So.
Yeah. I'll be seeing her next week in St. Louis, and I'm really looking forward to it. I haven't seen her in a while. So, yeah.
And it's great. Her husband's going back to school now. So,
yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good. That's wonderful. And she'll be so understanding too. She'll be very understanding as a wife to kind of know what he's going through. So that's awesome.
Is she still living in Buffalo? Is she?
No, they had to relocate for her
did.
job. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
They really checked it out, got a good renting a place real close to where they wanted the kids to go to school. They
Okay. Sounds
checked
good.
out the different
Yeah.
schools. So.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
she's in St. Louis, so.
Yeah,
Okay.
so she's in St. Louis.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's doing really well. She said she loves it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's going great. That's all I have, unless
Yep.
anyone has anything else. You have anything else, Dr. Venema?
Nope, I'm just a little nervous about tomorrow's class because I've got to. But other than that, no, this is great, you guys. We'll see you all next week
Okay.
at 11:30 Central Time, and we'll start into we'll just crash right into the content of the course. We'll just delve right into it, okay?
All right.
Cheers, it's been a slice, a thick one. We'll see you when we look at you.
Carly, get some caffeine, Carly. Get some caffeine.
Some Joe. Get some Joe.
Have a good week, everybody.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. See you next week, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.